300 TD wagons and bring a trailer. What the heck is going on? Unless you're living under a rock, you've noticed that every single 300 TD wagon that goes up for sale and bring a trailer seems to be selling for a record price. And I don't know exactly why that is. You know, I think it speaks to a couple things. First of all, new station wagons just aren't cool. They try to be, you know, but they're just not. Second of all, the 300 TD was a damn good car, and it deserves to bring top money. Third, the bring a trailer phenomenon has really hit its stride in like the $10,000 to $40,000 bracket. And so while some of the iconic Mercedes sports cars like the Pagoda SL or the 190 SL sell for crazy money that's way out of that bracket, other iconic Mercedes are going to do pretty well there, like the 190 E16 valve, Mercedes' first compact sports sedan, or the first mass-produced Mercedes Benz station wagon, the 123 Estate. The 123 wagon fits in the Mercedes production lineup, sort of like the 300 SL does. There were sporting Mercedes before the 300 SL, but the 300 SL is kind of the F-off car that started the whole Mercedes SL range. And so Mercedes-Benz has been famous for producing station wagons, but that famous trend started with the 300 TD. Now, there were Mercedes wagons made before the 300 TD. They made a 115 Universal, a 114 Universal, 110 and 111 Universals. They made, Benz made a W121 and a W120, so a 190 and a 180 gas and diesel station wagons. But these station wagons are mostly reserved for the European markets. They're extremely rare. They were rare then and they are rare now. And of course, they're very expensive when they do come up for sale. Of all the customers that I know and all the people I've communicated with over the years, I know of 3 of these things. And there was a 4th car that I tried to buy that was on eBay, a 220D wagon, but it just slipped through my fingers. So let's answer our question. The question nobody asked now: why are all these cars selling for that much? Now, there are 3 species of 300 TDs for sale and bring a trailer. The first species seems to be a car that is totally correct. It's had a stunning restoration, still has its SLS, has its original engine, has had every single detail seemingly attended to, and those cars tend to do pretty good. There was a really nice white on Palomino 82 that Andrews MB service, I think that was the seller handle, sold. That was a pretty nice car that I had a lot of respect for. So, Mr. Andrews, if you were watching, good job. You know. Then recently there was a gray 84 that had the SLS removed and was running with a sedan engine, and that car sold for $21,000. So, I'm not trying to denigrate you if you're the person who bought that car, but you paid too much. You know, at the end of the day, once the insanity clears with the 300 TD market, which could be 5 years from now and could be next week, the cars that are really going to float to the top are the cars that still have their SLS and their correct wagon cylinder head and probably their original engines. And of course, no color changes, no customization, none of that crap. And then there are going to be these cars that people overpaid for that are just not, you know, that have springs and conventional shocks that are basically toys, which I've said in my SLS video before. They're basically toys because you can't actually put 5 people in them. They're just going to sag down. And if you guys don't remember, if any of you have been to the Middle East before or seen videos of it at least, you put 5 people and luggage in the trunk of a Mercedes with conventional springs, and the sucker's still going to ride good, but it's going to sag like crazy in back. The fact of the car not having the original engine, and especially a wagon engine, bothers me more because a wagon engine is a wagon cylinder head rather is extremely hard to find. And if you had an engine problem, you should have saved your cylinder head and rebuilt it instead of pulling the motor out. So that shows that the car had a past history of extreme negligence, bad service, and possibly, you know, we'll just say an ugly history. It doesn't mean that the car shouldn't be preserved and kept up. It just means that it needs to be sorted, and it shouldn't be sold for $21,000. That's just ludicrous. So the next thing that we see on Bring a Trailer is the car that was already on Bring a Trailer a year ago. A lot of guys bought Wagons and Bring a Trailer because they knew that they were going to go up. You know, they could see the writing on the wall. Good for you. Maybe you should also go into stocks. And they brought them back to market a year later, and somehow Bring a Trailer still accepts these things. So my biggest gripe with Bring a Trailer is when a car actually sells on there, instead of telling a person, hey, we don't want your car back, you know, you bought this car, go take it. Instead, they just take the car back and put it up for sale. And, you know, they end up making money when it comes up for sale. Then the next person buys it. Then they usually end up losing money when they go to sell it. You're not encouraging people to keep the cars for a long time by doing that. So Bring a Trailer may actually be turning into one of the auction houses where people buy cars on there and then go resell them on there because that's where they bought them. Do I think that's bad? Well, no. It's what happens in the car trade. Gooding Auctions has this problem. RM has this problem where people buy a car there, then come back a few years later and resell it and lose money. So would I advise someone to buy a TD on Bring a Trailer? Unless it's really a stunning, perfect 100% car, or it's bought inexpensively enough and it seems like it's a decent car that has all of its stuff on it, I wouldn't. And I especially would not overpay for a car that has parts missing. You know, once you have parts missing or an SLS conversion to springs or something like that, every dollar you spend on the car is a dollar you're not going to get back. So unless you choose to fix the car. So anyway, for more information on Bring a Trailer and the Mercedes market, be sure to drop us a comment. Don't forget to hit the bell, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll be here to help you if you ever have a question. Enjoy driving your Mercedes Benz and enjoy buying your next Mercedes Benz.